The Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Assistant Ministers, the Leader of the Opposition and fellow Members of Parliament. I rise in support of the Prime Minister's motion that this Parliament thanks His Excellency the President for his most gracious speech at the opening of the 2026 parliamentary session, setting a clear and principled direction for our country, one that is rooted in unity, resilience, economic transformation, and an unwavering commitment to the well-being of our people. As Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs and External Trade, I wish to speak particularly to the global dimension of that vision. In an increasing complex and interconnected world, Fiji's voice continues to carry weight far beyond our shores. Our foreign policy remains grounded in peace, respect for international law, genuine partnership, and the protection of our sovereignty. We will continue to pursue a foreign policy that is independent, balanced, and guided first and foremost by the national interest of Fiji. While the Minister, Honourable Ditoka, has set out our strategic direction, I'm here, sir, to report on how we are operationalizing those priorities, our bilateral partnerships, our trade agreements, and our diplomatic resources to serve the everyday needs of the Fijian people. Our bilateral relationships remain the foundation of Fiji's day-to-day diplomacy, and through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade, we're working at strengthening key partnerships and international alliances. The Ministry continues to explore and negotiate partnership frameworks with various partners. Within the region, the review of development cooperation frameworks is ongoing, purposed at strengthening regional integration. Mr. Speaker, we live in an era of profound global transition. Power dynamics are shifting, economic partnerships are evolving, regional institutions are adapting, and the rules-based international system is facing mounting pressure. In such an environment, small states must be strategic, consistent, and confident. Fiji's foreign policy will remain anchored in the principles of sovereignty, mutual respect, non-alignment, and constructive engagement. We do not see ourselves as passive observers of global developments. We are active contributors. Our diplomacy is not reactive, it is deliberate. Fiji's voice in international affairs has always been guided by our commitment to peace, to dialogue, and to the respect of international law. The conflict in the Middle East reminds us of the devastating human cost when diplomacy fails. My hope is that the international community redoubles its efforts to pursue de-escalation, humanitarian access, and pathway to a durable peace for all peoples of the region. We will continue to pursue a balanced foreign policy, one that builds high-value partnerships across traditional and emerging partners alike. Our engagement is guided not by ideology, but by national interest under the pillars set out in the Foreign Policy White Paper, which are sovereignty, security, and prosperity. Fiji's credibility internationally stems from consistency and mutual respect. When we speak about climate change and advocacy, ocean protection, peacekeeping, or sustainable development, we do so with moral authority because these issues directly affect our people. We pursue cooperation that promotes sustainable development and long-term resilience with the well-being and prosperity of our people at the heart of our negotiations. Mr. Speaker, regionalism remains central to our foreign policy. Our Pacific identity is foundational. Our strength is amplified when we act collectively. In 2026, Fiji will work closely with our Pacific neighbors to deepen regional integration, to enhance collective bargaining power in global negotiations, and promote peace and security within our ocean continent. We will support initiatives that strengthen regional institutions, improve disaster preparedness coordination, and enhance connectivity, physical, digital, and economic. The Blue Pacific narrative is not merely symbolic, it is strategic and is further amplified by the declaration of the Pacific as an ocean of peace. It reminds the world that our ocean unites us and gives us leverage. Through solidarity, Pacific states can shape outcomes rather than be shaped by them. His Excellency spoke of a wealthy nation. To achieve this, our external trade team is acting as a bridge between the government and the private sector. In late 2025, the People's Coalition government made a policy decision to shift external trade from the Ministry of Industry and Trade to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, forming the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade. This restructuring, sir, integrates international trade policy and negotiations with diplomatic missions to enhance economic diplomacy, with the trade unit serving as the central coordinating body. By nestling trade within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we are aligning our diplomatic missions to act as trade hubs, ensuring that every one of our diplomats is also an advocate for Fijian sugar, for Yangona, for processed fish products, packaged goods, and tourism, to name a few. Mr. Speaker, this shift ensures a whole-of-government approach to aligning trade negotiations with foreign policy objectives, strengthening international trade ties, and leveraging diplomatic missions for trade promotion, negotiation, and the expansion of international markets and accessibility. Sir, foreign policy must deliver results that our people can see and feel. It must translate into jobs, opportunities, and improved livelihoods. And evidence of this has already been covered in detail by every single minister in their speeches thus far this week, from agriculture to health, from security to jobs, to the environment and climate change. In doing so, our overseas missions will actively pursue various initiatives like expanded market access for Fijian exports, new investment partnerships in sustainable sectors, trade and tourism promotion and diversification, technical cooperation in agriculture, renewable energy and digital innovation, and skills development partnerships for our youth with the aim of sustainable development and growth. We will strengthen coordination between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade and other relevant line agencies to ensure that our external engagements align with national development priorities. Investment must be responsible, transparent, and aligned with our long-term goals. We welcome partnerships that respect local communities, uphold environmental standards, and contribute to knowledge transfer. So climate change remains the defining challenge of our generation. For Fiji and other Pacific Island countries, this is not a distant threat. It is a daily reality. His Excellency's address rightly emphasized resilience and sustainability as national imperatives. Our foreign policy will continue to place climate action at the forefront of our international advocacy. In 2026, Fiji will continue to strengthen its advocacy in regional and multilateral forums, ensuring that the global community delivers on climate finance commitments, loss and damage mechanisms, and adaptation support. This will include working closely with our Pacific neighbors under the Pacific Islands Forum framework in advancing the collective priorities of our Blue Pacific continent. At the same time, sir, we will deepen strategic partnerships across Asia, the Americas, Europe, and when the time is right, the Middle East. Fiji's foreign policy is not about choosing sides, but it is about building bridges. We welcome cooperation that promotes sustainable development, infrastructure resilience, digital connectivity, trade expansion, and skills development for our people. Labor mobility and the diaspora engagement remain critical components of our international relations. Our citizens abroad are ambassadors of Fiji's values and culture. We will continue to ensure their welfare and well-being. Furthermore, sir, Fiji remains committed to being a constructive and principled contributor to international peace and security. Our proud history of peacekeeping and multilateral engagement reflects our enduring belief that small states can make meaningful contributions to global stability. Mr. Speaker, the global governance architecture has been under a lot of strain over the recent past. Institutions established decades ago are now looking for mechanisms to adapt to contemporary realities. Yet, multilateralism remains essential, as no single country can address complex issues like climate change, pandemics, transnational crime, or cyber threats all on their own. In today's day and age, cooperation is not an option, it is a necessity. Fiji will continue to advocate for reforms that give small states a stronger voice and access to the decision-making processes. We support greater representation, transparency, and accountability within international institutions. Our team at headquarters, sir, at Nandi Airport and in our missions are committed to working diligently to pursue Fiji's interests, to ensure that Fiji's interests are protected and advanced in all relevant forums. Sir, bilateral relations remain the cornerstone of our foreign relations. In particular, the elevation in the socio-economic well-being of our people through infrastructure projects and sustainable development initiatives, coming to fruition through bilateral engagements. These bilateral engagements, sir, continue to strengthen with many of our valued development partners, including the expansion of our diplomatic footprint into new frontiers. So one of the key highlights anticipated this year will be the groundbreaking for the 100-bed super speciality hospital project with the Republic of India and the Ndombuilebu Regional Research Project with the Republic of Indonesia. The 100-bed super speciality hospital will be a significant elevation of Fiji's healthcare sector through the provision of specialized medical and cardiology services that will be accessed by ordinary Fijians and the Pacific region. With an estimated value of 200 million Fijian dollars, the project, sir, will be another significant footprint in our bilateral relations with the Republic of India, and one that would greatly support our broader healthcare plan. On the same note, Mr. Speaker, the Ndombuilebu Regional Research Center project is a major agriculture initiative aimed at elevating farming capacity and providing access to agriculture research to Pacific Island countries. The project envisions the establishment of a regional training center and demonstrated farming at the Ndombuilebu Research Station. The project will soon commence phase 1, which includes finalizing the technical and preparatory issues relating to the construction process. With an estimated value of 12 million Fijian dollars for phase 1, the project will be a landmark collaboration between Fiji and Indonesia in the agriculture sector. Mr. Speaker, in terms of promoting regional integration, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade is working and collaborating strategically with the Embassy of France to coordinate thematic sector-based cooperation with its territories in the Pacific through an established Declaration of Intent, or DOI, for development cooperation. A high-level delegation from Wallis and Futuna completed a series of meetings with line ministries on their development interests, exploring ways in which Fiji can help. The high-level delegation conducted meetings in Fiji from the 23rd to the 27th of February this year. The visit aligns very well with the regional component of Fiji's Vision 2050 and also the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific, underscored by the Ocean of Peace, which is a regionally developed and owned instrument for building a resilient, peaceful, and prosperous region. Mr. Speaker, I am committed to the wisdom of outcomes. We are no longer silent observers. We are an active, disciplined, and operationally excellent foreign service that puts the interests of our people first. Global economic recovery remains uneven. Climate impacts are intensifying. Technological change is accelerating, and the year ahead will require discipline, cooperation, and foresight. But there's always opportunity in every challenge, sir, and Fiji has never been defined by its size. We are defined by our spirit, resilience, and determination. Allow me to conclude by once again thanking His Excellency for his comprehensive and inspiring address. The agenda for 2026 is ambitious. It calls for economic transformation, environmental stewardship, social cohesion, and institutional strength. Foreign policy will be a vital instrument in achieving these goals. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Minaka Sakwalebu, Dhanyavad, Shukran, and God bless our beloved Fiji.